review of the Laguna 1412 bandsaw. The 1412 is Laguna's first foray into building a 110 volt bandsaw. I'm going to do a review of its features from top to bottom. To give you a little background, I've already owned a Powermatic 14-inch bandsaw for a few years now. It served me really well. I've always kept a 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch blade on it, and I've used it for fine detail work. This particular model is their 90th anniversary edition. That's why it's the black color and not the typical Powermatic yellow. This Powermatic bandsaw is the typical cast iron frame that's been around for many, many years. About the time I purchased the Powermatic bandsaw, the European steel frame design started to show up more and more in the market. The advantage of the steel frame is that the frame is more rigid. The cast iron frames can flex when you put a 3/4 or 1 inch blade on, and it makes difficult task of trying to resaw. The steel frame will not flex, and you can run a 3/4 or 1 inch blade on them without any flexing. It makes it much easier to resaw or do heavy cutting through stumps or logs. This past June we had a major storm in my area, and I was able to come across a couple of fallen trees. This created the opportunity for me to try out and purchase one of these steel frame bandsaws. After a lot of research, I decided I would get the Laguna 1412, and I'll show you why. As I said earlier, the 1412 will run on 110 volts. It has a 1 3/4 horsepower engine, and it's 14 amps, which means you can run it on a 15 or 20 amp circuit without any problem. The machine has a pyramid-shaped steel framed spine. It has an oversized table that measures 21 inches by 16 inches. The trunnions beneath the table are also oversized, so they'll support heavy and large stock. The 1412 comes with solid cast wheels. The weight of these wheels helps to add to the horsepower. The machine comes with dual clear windows. The first one lets you see the blade tracking on the wheel. The second window lets you view the blade tension. The saw comes with 2 large wheels for adjustment. The first is an oversized wheel that lets you get a good grip to adjust the blade tension. The second is a rack and pinion wheel which will raise and lower the guides. The guides stay in alignment the full throw up and down, and then they tighten with a knob in the back. Laguna claims a 12-inch resaw capacity, but that's a little conservative. Upon measuring, you see that it's actually better than 13 inches. The saw also comes with a full 13 5/8 inch throat capacity. Some of the other features include a 110 volt outlet on the post of the bandsaw to power the optional halogen shop light. The saw also includes a T-miter slot. The saw takes blades that are 115 inches in length, a very easy size to find. The table height is 38 inches, a really comfortable height when you're resawing. The table will tilt 45 degrees to the right, and it also has a nifty sliding base, and it allows the table to tilt 7 degrees to the left. The included fence is 5.5 inches high, and it can be mounted in 2 different positions. The first in an upright position. The second method of mounting the fence is low profile, so that you can cut thin strips in the stock, keep the guides low, and the fence will not get in the way. The fence comes with a steel tubular rail, a nylon bushing to help the aluminum fence glide smoothly along the bandsaw's table, as well as a brass tip on the end of the locking knob of the fence. This will help to secure the fence tightly, as well as help with the durability. Some of the other features include a quick release blade tensioner, a full 4-inch dust port, a magnetic blade guard holder, and the ability to adjust and fine-tune the lower wheel. One of the great features of all Laguna bandsaws is they come with ceramic guides. This is my first experience with ceramic guides, and I have to tell you, I'm really impressed. The upper guide comes with 5 ceramic blocks, 2 on each side of the blade, as well as a thrust guide. The guides are extremely easy to adjust. Simply move them into position and tighten the knob. There's also a knob on the side for easy adjustment of the thrust guide. The bottom guides have the same configuration and are just as easy to adjust. The dust collection on the 1412 is excellent. In addition to the 4-inch dust port, there's also the shield on the lower guides. It helps corral the dust into the port. There's also a brush and a plastic throat plate that helps corral the dust into the dust port. There are two options to the saw that I added and I would highly recommend. The first is a halogen light, which throws a lot of light onto your working surface. And the second is a mobility kit, which includes wheels on the back of the saw, as well as a foot-activated lever. You simply step down, and the saw is easily pushed and moved around the shop. So far I've used the saw on a couple of different projects. As I mentioned earlier, I purchased a saw to mill some lumber from some fallen trees. This is just a small sampling of some of the lumber I reclaimed from the trees. When I milled down the logs, I used a 3/4-inch Timberwolf blade. I had a project where I was going to make 3 humidors. I started out with 3/4-inch mahogany. I needed to end up with 1/2-inch width stock. So what I did was I resawed about a little less than 1/4 of an inch off. A couple passes through the planer and it was ready to go. Here's the 1/4 inch that was resawed off. As you can see, clean and even. Since the mahogany was very expensive, I invested in a Laguna Resaw King blade. It's carbide tipped and it can be sharpened 5 times at the factory if you send it back to them. As you can see, it's extremely pricey, but it was well worth it. The cut was perfect. Here's one of the finished humidors. As you can see, the bandsaw was able to get me down to a 1/2 inch with no problem whatsoever. The last project I finished with the bandsaw was this bandsaw box. I used a 3/4-inch Timberwolf blade as well as a 1/4-inch Timberwolf blade. Now let's take a look at the saw in action as we resaw a piece of wood. As you can see, a nice even cut, and the cut surfaces are very clean. A really great feature I forgot to mention is the throat plate. The throat plate is oversized and comes with 4 adjustable screws. That way you can raise and lower the plate and make it flush with the table. That way your wood will not catch on the table when it's passing through. On a final note, these are the original tires that came with the bandsaw. They're urethane, but they're relatively hard and a little stiff, and I felt they were responsible for some vibration I was getting in the saw. So I replaced them with urethane tires I purchased from Carter Products. The Carter tires are softer, and upon putting them on I noticed a decrease in the vibration and the saw ran smoother. I'm certainly not saying you have to run out and buy new tires for a brand new bandsaw, but it did make a difference. When I upgraded to the softer urethane tires, I saw a noticeable improvement, so it's something you might want to consider. I believe it's the case with any new bandsaw that if you do upgrade to a higher quality tire, you will see an improvement. If I had to rate this bandsaw based on power, performance, and features, I'd have to give it a 10 out of 10. I've been more than thrilled with my purchase. I hope you found this review helpful. If you get a chance, check out some of the other videos on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.